Before we get started, a little disclaimer. Rolling Stone recently published an article with the title, Unplugged. Is the guitar solo finished? Oh, what a surprise. Doom and gloom guitar-related headlines. First the guitar was dead, now guitar solos are dead. What's next? Guitar strings? Are guitar strings gonna die? Please don't take my strings. The thing is, I don't totally disagree with the message this article is trying to convey. I can read the top 40 charts. I can see that there's a clear absence of not just guitar solos, but real instrumental performances in general. My problem with the article is the tone of the writing, the clear ignorance of music outside of the top 40, and the dramatic, over-the-top, hyperbolic journalism that plagues the world we live in. The article is prompted by a disturbance. A guitar solo in the song of a top 40 artist. Right off the bat, isn't the existence of this guitar solo sort of detrimental to the article's main point? I mean, I thought the guitar solo was finished. Or is it saying there are not enough guitar solos in top 40 music? Anyway, the song is called Out of My Head by Khalid, featuring John Mayer. Man, that guy's everywhere. The song I think is really cool. In fact, if John Mayer had sang on it, it probably could have passed as a bonus track from his most recent album, The Search for Everything. The instrumentation is really similar to Love on the Weekend. It has really sparse rhythmic guitar parts layered in the background and has a real serve the song style approach. It sounds like maybe the guitar is on the split bridge position. Really cool stuff going on. It almost makes me think John Mayer had a lot to do with the actual writing of this song. And while this video isn't about this song in particular, I did want to point out something that I think is important. These are the chorus lyrics. Hoo-ah, 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 nah. Hoo-ah, 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 nah. Hoo-ah, 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 nah. Hoo-ah, hoo-ah, just can't get you out of my head. Now, the way I think collaborations and singles like these work is it's sort of a manufactured approach where the producer or the songwriter comes up with a hook, in this case, Out of My Head, or Can't Get You Out of My Head, and the rest of the song is built around that. It really doesn't matter what else happens in the song as long as that hook is there. The rest is gravy. If you care to look them up, the rest of the song's lyrics aren't exactly meaningful, and I think that's why top 40 music today gets kind of a bad rap. Laziness in lyric writing is at an all-time high, and it's numbed listeners into some sort of anesthetic state where we no longer expect profound lyrics from pop musicians. We just want a solid melodic phrase that we can remember, blanketed in high-fidelity sonic goodness. It's sort of like Twitter. People just read headlines or thoughts of 140 characters or less, form an opinion based on essentially nothing, and move on to the next thing. Pop hooks today are clickbait tweets. But the thing is, it almost feels like a drug when you hear the beats of today's top 40 music with the luscious synth, the immersive bass, and the crystal clear vocals. It's almost as if the sheen of a track is more important than the package it's covering. So, a John Mayer solo enters near the end of this song, and if this article is any indication, shakes the foundation of millennials the world over. The article kind of feels like it's a group of projections from the movie Inception, and the guitar solo is an outsider intruding in that dream. It does not belong here. It's not right. It must be attacked. This brings me to my first problem with this article. It claims the guitar solo is an endangered species. That's a little close-minded. An endangered species means that there is hardly any left of that species on the entire planet. If the guitar solo is an endangered species, that implies that the entire world is only top 40 music. There's no other music to listen to. Nothing else exists. Obviously, that's not true. I could list dozens of world-renowned, relevant bands today that feature guitar solos in their music, and I'm sure you could too. Now, if the article were to say, the guitar solo is an endangered species in top 40 music today, then yeah, I agree. But that's not a good headline, and it doesn't take a strong enough stance in one direction or another. It's not tweet-worthy. So let's ramp up the hot take meter, and we're going all the way, baby. The guitar solo on the whole is about to be terminated. I have an issue with some pop culture journalism today in publications like Rolling Stone or Pitchfork, in that It seems like sometimes the writers, when they're writing about guitar or guitar-forward music, they're displaying an unfamiliarity with what they're talking about. For example, the article mentions the guitar's existence in pop culture today, playing a prominent role in the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. Here's a quote.
The sight of a man standing in front of his amps, perfecting every note of his solo, feels even older than rock itself. It's like you've watching... Wait. It's like you've watching... Hey. This is a typo. Rolling Stone, you should be ashamed. It's like you've been watching a ritual from ancient Egypt.
Really? Does it feel like watching an ancient Egyptian ritual to you, the writer, trying to dump gasoline on the red hot take tweet fire? Or to all of us? Last I checked, Bohemian Rhapsody won 4 Oscars this year, the most of any movie at the Academy Awards. I think people liked it. Another quote from the article about the movie A Star is Born. Quote,
bloated and oozing flop sweat, Mayne drops his head and breaks into a guitar solo, pulling angry, sputtering notes out of his strings. One supposes such violent manhandling of his instrument is meant to symbolize his inner pain, but the scene also screams out, this dude is so over that he's even playing a guitar solo.
That dude was so not over the fact that he was playing a guitar solo. Did you watch the movie? That dude loved music. That's all he cared about. Also, here's a little education. When you play a guitar solo and you're really putting some emotion and feel into it, you tend to make weird guitar faces and contort your body. You sometimes look like you're gonna puke. But it is actually one of the most orgasmic experiences a human can have. And by the way, the guy that you're talking about in the movie, Jackson Maine, he was probably about 17 gin and tonics in at that point, so that could explain his disheveled look and the I'm gonna puke face. The article then mentions how an exhibit at the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art features guitars played by Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, and Jimmy Page.
The mere fact that those instruments are behind glass in a museum exhibit only reinforces the sense that the guitar solo as a musical or cultural force has peaked.
Oh, sorry, I was reaching for that. So what the writer is trying to tell us now is that anything in a museum is no longer relevant to the world we inhabit. Anything behind glass, protected, historic. It's like a tweet from 3 hours ago. Might as well never have happened. I've already moved on to 600 things since then. It really feels like a certain age of journalists in today's pop culture industry really hate the guitar. It's like the guitar is treated like the old man yelling, "Get off my lawn." It's subtle disses all the way to downright disrespect. Language from the article likening the guitar to being in a morgue, to even calling a guitar a second-class citizen. As a guitarist, that hurts my feelings. Shh, it's okay, it's okay. Don't listen to that bad man. In reality, the guitar is the coolest instrument in the world, and it always will be. No synthesizer will ever be cooler. Doing this is not as cool as doing this. Oh, also this article goes on to mention how there are no guitar solos on Beyonce's last album. So, that's not good. We all know how well Beyonce is known for her blistering face melters. It does say that there are musicians keeping the guitar safe from a
premature burial.
Staying on brand with the death theme. Nice. So let me offer a perspective on the subject of the guitar solo that is apparently on life support and how we can resuscitate it in music going forward. I counter your death themes. Life themes. Now bear with me. I have a metaphor I think can work. I think the answer is pretty simple. The answer is time. We have to let it pass. Music, just like any other industry, is a cyclical force of trends. These trends come around. They don't die, they just go away, like the Earth rotating away from the sun. New trends come around to face the sun. Right now, those trends are powered by electronic instrumentation. And today's top 40 compositions reflect that. But there are still a lot of people on the other side of the world who are awake. There are guitar solos everywhere, in a lot of music. Who's to say that the guitar solo won't re-emerge as the rightful heir to the musical throne. I mean, the article started with the fact that there's a guitar solo in a song by a top 40 artist. And guess what? Genres that contain artists like Khalid or Katy Perry or Halsey are not going to be the same genres topping charts in decades to come. It's a fact. The nature of music casuals today, however, is instant gratification. I don't want to challenge myself to appreciate new music or find a new song to listen to other than the 4 or 5 that seem to be on a loop on radio stations. I think somebody has gone into a radio station in every city in America, put these same 4 or 5 songs on a loop, and murdered the DJ. Oh no, death themes. Forget I said that. Okay, seriously, here's something to think about. As new technology developed in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the guitar solo reached its pinnacle. New techniques were developed and new sounds are happening. Well, as a member of the guitar community and someone with extensive experience with all the new technology and amplifiers, guitar pedals, and all the gear flooding our market today, I am confident there's a new guitar revolution on the horizon. It feels like there are more people making music and playing guitar in innovative ways than ever before, and I can guarantee you those people are not listening to articles like these which dismiss that notion. I know I'm not. So what do you say? Is the guitar solo finished? Or is it just getting started? Let me know in the comments down below. I think this is a healthy discussion to not only shed light on music and artists that deserve it, but also to keep the guitar solo alive.